Okay, got right back to work yesterday after reviewing the film with the players. Certainly did some good things in the game. Got back to some of our identity that we wanted to establish, and felt we reestablished some of that. At the same time, plenty of room for improvement. Saw some good special teams play and some other things that we want to fix. But overall, a lot of more positive than anything, and certainly some good momentum as we prepare for a game that's going to be against, in our opinion, arguably one of the most physical teams, not only in the conference but in the country.
Mario, is your plan for the first half with the offensive line similar to how the game ended the other night? And how did Stephen Jones do at left tackle?
Stephen Jones did a really nice job. The first couple plays, you could tell he was a little bit nervous, and there's no excuse to be nervous on your first play in front of 60,000 people, right? But besides that, once he settled in, he did what we felt he could do. He played with power. He played with poise, with balance. He created some room in the run game. He did a real nice job in protection, some technical stuff we'd like to have back, but he played hard, and it's not only a tribute to him, but the guys beside him. I thought both Throckmorton and Shane have done a nice job grooming him, and they communicated well with him, so very positive from him. Capra did a great job playing as well. You know, obviously Dallas had been banged up throughout the course of the first few games, so Jake had played really well in practice. He went in there, and just the two of them splitting reps there made for one really good performance at that position. So overall, some real positive stuff. And I want to point out Brady Aiello. Brady's really been playing physical and tough and hard-nosed football, and it's great to see him have success.
Marion, update on Lana. He's not on the depth chart. Just what's his status?
Yeah, Lana's going to be out for the remainder of the season. We expect him to be back for the bowl game. Injury, not as severe as he had last year, but in the same area, lower leg, small fracture, but enough where he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. So he'll be right there with me at practice coaching. He's the heart and soul, one of the many guys that are, together the heart and soul of the football team. His presence is necessary. He does a great job tutoring, Sampson and some of those other linebackers. So he'll be very active among our football team and in any way that we can involve him.
Going back to the offensive line, I think at one point in the game you had one guy starting in his spot that he originally started at the beginning of the year. How well do you think your offensive line's been able to adjust and adapt with so much change and guys having to move positions around and whatnot?
Well, started gelling, this past week. I think it helped us that we committed more to the run. Certainly got those guys in a groove. And the older guys just did a really good job bringing along the younger players. And not only here, but just the preparation, the course of the week and the course of the entire offseason, and everything that goes into just our processes and preparation. So it's we do it in practice. We move these guys around a bunch, and it's at some point in time you're gonna have to perform in that situation. So it was good to see them just respond the way that we did, and just keep going forward. And we know what yesterday in practice, we mix them around even more. They expect it now. It's a little bit like musical chairs for them at practice.
Hey, Coach, with the Utah's quarterback situation kind of in flux, how do you guys go about preparing for the Utes now?
Well, they do have some talented guys on that roster, and the quarterbacks. I know that they've listed Shelley as a starter. We've seen him play before. This is a very talented guy, and he does it both with his arm and his feet. And they've got some other guys on the roster that have played quarterback before, so we're preparing for all that and more. And with Utah, which is a great football program, it starts and ends with their physicality on both sides of the ball. Up front, they by the truckload, they have big, powerful guys that set the tone for the game. So that's always been part of their identity. But I don't think it limits them to what they do offensively. I mean, these guys have shown, and they were recruited to run the system that they're currently running. So we're going to prepare as we would prepare normally, for what they have done, plus a couple of wrinkles that, we feel that might be added to their offensive scheme.
I know we talked about this when Drayton was called for the targeting against Washington, but what's the coaching? What can you do to communicate to Jake to do things differently, or do you? And then I guess just what have you said to him in the last couple of days? Obviously, he's probably bummed out to not be able to start this next game.
Yeah, it's a tough one to swallow. And but, again, just got to continue teaching and enforcing the rules. We ran that reverse. and the play is designed so that once he seals the line of scrimmage, he turns and he's what we call it seal the box, meaning that if anyone tries to retrace, that we cut them off at the path and not allow them to run down the play from behind. He was in good position. I mean, he dropped his hips, bended at the knees, just like we teach it, got his hands inside, actually got his hands on the defender, before his face actually does. And one hand kind of slips off, which might have, I don't know, enhanced the look of the play or the call. But you don't see him leading with the crown of the helmet. You don't see him trying to launch. I mean, he's really trying to do it the right way. Just so happens the speed of the game, sometimes it happens. And you got to remind yourself, too, these linemen, I mean, on every single play, they're using their hands and, faces collide to shoulder pads and faces. So, I mean, he's doing what he does. And he did, minus the fact that it ends up being a targeting penalty. It was a great block on a really good design and an execution by the offense, but unfortunately resulted in an ejection.
Yeah, Coach, concerning the running game, it looked like you had some pretty good success off tackle. Tony Brooks-James, touchdown, I think, was off tackle. And then people are asking me, why not more conventional sweeps with the speed at running back? The little toss sweeps or the old student body left, student body right. So anyway,
body.
People are asking me that, so I'm just going to ask you.
Some plays are designed to go inside, some outside. We have everything from – we have some sweep plays. We have some – inside zone, gap schemes, pin and pull, true counter weak, counter strong, pin and pull weak, pin and pull strong. We have a few, different things, and you call what you feel can attack and wear down a defense and expose them and give you the best chance for success. We're going to call it as we see, can help us stay on schedule. I think the key to this game, and reflecting back to the previous week, we were in 3rd and long almost 80% of the time at Arizona, probably a little bit more, probably 84% of the time. And on this game, we were 8 of 17 on 3rd down, and on 14 of those, it was 5 yards or less. And a lot of that is due to just staying on schedule. And we feel really good about our chances whenever 3rd down is 5 yards or less. And heck, 7 of those were 3 yards or less. And sometimes it requires you to run the ball inside. So we do have those. Okay, I'm sure you'll see them pop up here and there, and sometimes more times than not. But it's all related to what the defense has given us, how they defend the perimeter, and what they're doing inside.
Right inside, first row. Brian?
Last year, due to injuries, you guys were kind of searching for answers to that inside spot until Jimmy Swain, I think, finally stepped in and did some good things for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Do you see progress with Sampson and Keith, and are they kind of your top options right now?
We do, and they are the top options. They've worked at it, and now they've been tapped on the shoulder, and it's here, and it's time to go perform. The combination of they have taken reps, the tutelage that they have received and they will be getting, Lana being in there as well as a mentor, another guy that can help them just understand and see things. All those things, they're going to have those guys ready, and the most important thing is to make sure that they can be aggressive and play fast. Not let them think too much, let them react. There's a reason they're inside linebackers. They're instinctive. And we've got to make sure that there's a complete clarity for them in the game plan and understanding what the opponent's doing so that they can play fast.
Front left, Matt.
You said you're kind of preparing for who Utah's going to be regardless of quarterback. It seems like they're always a power run team with Zack Moss. What do you think of his ability? He leads, I think, the conference in rushing yards and average and second in touchdowns. Just what does his talents bring to the table and challenge of stopping him?
Big time guy. He's an NFL guy. I know him well. He's from my neck of the woods. He's about 45 minutes north of where I grew up. So I watched him play high school football. I mean, and he has developed tremendously in their program. And he is a big physical. And I know he's a downhill guy, but he'll put a foot in the ground, make you miss, and bounce that thing outside and outrun the defense. So he's a combination that's probably the most difficult to defend because he'll run through you and he'll run around you. And the offensive line, they do a tremendous job getting push and knocking people back. And they were averaging 40-plus points a game for about 3 or 4 games straight. They were mixing it up well. They were using tempo. They were using unbalanced formations. And we don't expect it to change. I mean, they do what they do, and they're good at it. So, and certainly Zack Moss is a big part of that.
Mario mentioned their physicality. They have one of the more productive linebacker duos in the league, probably in the country. Just what have you seen from their top 2 linebackers in particular, who both have over 70 tackles, I believe?
They don't miss tackles. These guys play with great balance. It all starts up front. So their offensive or their defensive line does a good job controlling the line of scrimmage. But these guys get downhill. They recognize, they diagnose so quickly. There's no hesitation in their game. I mean, if they see double team, back block, pull, they understand its power and they scrape downhill in a hurry. They take the air out of your offensive plays, meaning if they know when they're spilling, they know when they're boxing, they understand where their help is. I mean, these guys they're complete linebackers. And when they close, they understand how to tackle and how to get a guy on the ground. There's no leading with the head. They're just so fundamentally sound and they play with power. So these guys, there's a reason, they have the productivity that they have. They're blessed with tremendous ability, but they know what they're doing and they do it in a physical manner.
On the right.
I think during camp you said that Ugo was kind of lobbying to return punts and got in there. What's it been like to see him, not only play well on defense for you this year, but to have that role as well as a senior?
As the season goes on, I hope, and I know he got recognized again today, I hope that he is further recognized as one of the best players in the country because what he has brought to the table, the multiple positions he plays on defense, what he has done on special teams, and not only as a returner, but in our coverage units as well, it's changed us. It really has. And I'm going to try to talk him into kickoff returns this week, see if he's willing to do some of that as well. But he wasn't messing around when he said, Coach, you got to look at my high school tape. And how important is it to listen to the players? It's very important. A lot of times they know and have seen before you've even had a chance to assess. And he's, from day one, he showed that he can do it. And he's done a great job. Certainly the other day he kick-started a game, and that momentum we never gave it back. 14 points really, sparked by special teams that end up being, a gap that they weren't able to close, UCLA.
We all know how special Dylan is at receiver for you guys, but he's had 4 straight games of double-digit targets. I think the rest of the team has had one guy with 10 or more targets in a game. How special is it that he's being able to do what he does with double coverage? And then do you feel like you're maybe leaning on him a little bit too much in the passing game, or is the balance of his targets to everybody else pretty in the sweet spot for you?
Well, you want to spread the ball around. And early in the season, we were able to do that. I think what you've seen is his game is elevated. And it's still, we're a progression passing offense. I mean, it's we don't nobody really predetermines much unless it's pure matchup 0-1, right, where everybody's playing man and you got to choose where you think the guy has the best leverage or the best matchup. He's done a great job of getting open. He has, and I think we wouldn't be doing it right if the open guy didn't get the ball. So are we trying to just target him? No. Has he gotten more of the balls thrown to him? Yeah, he's been targeted more, but it is a product of him being open and working his tail off to do so. Now, mind you, I think Jalen and Johnny and Schooler have really come on, and they're a big part of the offense. Their touches haven't been as much as we would like them to be. We expect that to get back on track here in the near future.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about how tough Utah is for a good reason, but they did get beat by Arizona State. So do you see some encouraging things about how Arizona State and how they beat the Utes? And that's just basically it. I mean, is it encouraging to see, and how much improvement do you think you need to have in order to beat Utah as your own team over last Saturday night?
Sure. Well, those are our next two opponents, so I have nothing but good things to say about either one of them. And I think regardless of who we play, I'm always going to just respect them and compliment them. What I did see, what we saw Arizona State do is they executed a good plan. They made some really explosive plays. A couple of their receivers came up with some monster catches, broken tackles, reverse the field. They did some things in the running game where they're probably, a lot of it attributed to breaking some tackles, but had some good stuff schematically as well. That was a back and forth for a while until the quarterback injury. So not only Arizona, but every single game that we break down, you always draw something from it. You go back several years because there's so much carryover from what they've been doing for a long time under Coach Whittingham that you always try to pick and draw something that might be able to help you without going overboard and getting too far away from what you're doing. You don't want to confuse your own players. But I'm more encouraged about what I see from our team. and the way that we played at home. And probably most importantly for us is to play on the road the same way we play at Autzen. That's got to be the biggest point of emphasis for us. You know, we focused, we've gotten, I would say, we never were unfocused, but refocused and recommitted to playing a certain way. And we've got to make sure we're dialed into that and carry it through the moment we leave home and get on the airplane and fly over there and carry it over to the moment the ball's teed off until the clock says 0. That is what has been what we have identified. We identified in the offseason, got some good results at Cal. And then the other 2 times on the road, we didn't look like us. That's even more important than what we see on tape from somebody else.
Last question, Eric. I guess just following up on the road struggles, I mean, what kind of things do you think these guys need to do to perform better and offensively with the snap count? Obviously, they were difficult. You know, Utah's a tough place to play. Do you guys feel comfortable with kind of dealing with that stuff?
Yeah, I think that part we solved. I mean, those first 3 snaps at Wazoo, they highlighted, you know, something that we felt comfortable going in and had to remedy pretty quickly, but we were out of sync. By the second half, we were in sync. I don't think the noise was a factor at the other stop that we had on the road. We just didn't play well. You know, it all comes down to the mindset and the ability to carry out a process all the way through the end of the game and back to the locker room. That's what it comes down to. It starts with practice. Our Sunday practice was extremely sharp. Our film review I felt was excellent. I think the leaders are stepping up, finding ways to get guys in here and watch extra film. And I just feel that there's a hunger to take that next step. And probably most importantly, recognizing that, look, this Pac-12 conference, I know I said it before, everybody wants to be the best. And we have to recognize as coaches and as players that everybody has some great players in this conference. Everybody does. And God help you if you walk into an arena on game day not at your best, because it's not going to be good enough, and it doesn't matter who you are or who you think you are. And that is a step that our program must take, that we must emphasize and get results from for us to be the team that we want to be.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you, guys.